Hi folks! Sven Arnesen from Realis Kites. Today I'd like to talk a little about my DIY KAP-rig Stabilizer. Because a few days ago, Kite Photography asked me this question on Instagram. What is the flag on the pickup for? And that's exactly what this vlog is all about. That flag or weather vane or the stabilizer, which I'm gonna call it in the following. Okay, you know, sometimes you'll put a tail on your kite for improving its stability, right? And the tail is acting like some kind of wind anchor, stabilizing the kite up against the wind. And I think the same concept will apply for the KAP-rig too. But rather than putting a tail onto it, I've made a simplified weather vane. And the reason for it is exactly the same as for putting that tail on your kite, stabilizing and keeping the KAP-rig up against the wind. So, how did I go about it? Well, first I made a Google search for weather vanes in general, you know, to get some kind of inspiration. And after some browsing and thinking, I started to get an idea of what I really wanted. I jumped into my workshop and came out with a handful of items. A scrap piece of carbon fiber rod, 6 millimeters in diameter and about 60, maybe 70 centimeters long. A handful of zip ties. A piece of plastic sheet, about 1.5, maybe 2 millimeters thick. A leather hole punch tool, an APA connector, and a Leatherman tool for cutting off the excess zip ties. And in this video, I'm not going into details on how to build this stabilizer, because I think that will be pretty self-explanatory. So let's cut to it and take a closer look at the stabilizer itself. Alright, here's my KAP-rig, and I can attach my GoPro camera about here. Then the rig is fixed to the flying line, and I'm using a pickup, a camera suspension system. So when the angle of the flying line changes, the pickup is supposed to level and stabilize the KAP-rig. Now over to the stabilizer. You know, this flag piece of thing. First, I cut out a triangular kind of flag-shaped piece of the plastic sheet, and then I used the leather hole punch tool to punch a pair of holes at each end of one of the flag's straight edges. The next thing to do is to align the carbon rod so it sits in the middle of the pair of holes, and then strap the rod to the flag piece using the zip ties. Cutting off the excess zip ties, and the flag piece of the stabilizer is actually complete. Now we need to make an arrangement to fix the flag piece to the rig, and here's where the APA connector comes into play. There is a bolt going through both the cross-shaped pickup and the rig itself, and it's fastened by this nut. And by the way, if you can get hold of a wing nut, that's even more convenient. Anyway, you unscrew the nut so the two pieces come apart, and then you put the APA connector in between the pickup cross and the rig before tightening it all in using the same nut. APA connector. The connector should now sit tightly between the pickup and the rig itself. And by the way, please make sure that the APA connector's inner diameter fits the outer diameter of the carbon rod. Okay, let's see if the flag piece fits. Yes, it does. And for adding even more stability, I've put another zip tie across here to keep the stabilizer in place should the nut for some reason come loose and the wind's getting really interesting. So now you pretty much know why the flag stabilizer and the basics for how to make one yourself. Finally, judging from my experiences with this kind of stabilizer, I'd say it does add stability to your KAP-rig. It's nothing that I can prove is scientific, of course, but it seems to do the job. So, why not give it a go yourself? Oh, and until we meet again, just fly.